This is episode 47 of Sustainable Photography. I'm your host, Ingvild Kolnes, and today we're going to talk about why it's a bad idea to base your prices on others. As a photographer, you are probably always wanting to improve your photography, your business, and your profit. And while it might seem like a good idea to base your prices on what others are charging, it can also damage your business in the long run. But it is a way that many of us start out, me included. And today we're going to talk about why basing your prices on others is not a good strategy and how you can find other ways to improve your photography business. So keep listening. I've got some great tips for you. You're listening to Sustainable Photography, where you get support and education to build your profitable business in a way that supports your way of living. I'm Ingvild Kolnes, and after 11 years as a photographer, I want to share what I've learned with you. So if you're looking for confidence, inspiration, and to-the-point tips, keep listening. For full transparency, I also want you to know that I'm a mentor with paid offers, and I might mention some of those in this episode. In my early days, I checked what other local photographers around me charged, and I made sure that I was cheaper. My intention wasn't to undercut. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I did it because I didn't want those other photographers to look at me and think, who does she think she is? But if you've ever based your prices on other photographers' prices, your reasons might be different. I've heard of reasons like, they've been in business for longer than me, so I have to make sure that I don't charge more. Or they're better than me. Or I won't get booked if I'm charging more than those around me. Or I'm basing my prices on those I think are at my level, so I can figure out what to charge. And there are probably a lot more reasons than that as well. But let's talk about it for a sec. What happens if you compare or base your prices to others? The first thing that can happen is that if you find that your prices are a lot higher than other photographers, it's easy to start doubting your worth, especially if it's been a while since you got an inquiry. After all, why should someone pay more for your photography when they can get similar quality elsewhere, right? That's probably what you're thinking. But I want you to remember that the value that you give is a lot more than just photography, and that your clients, they should want you for you. And if you don't know how to let that shine through your work and your brand and everything you do, you definitely should check out the Sustainable Photography Program. At the same time, if you find that your prices are higher than other photographers, you might be tempted to lower them to compete. And that's a bad idea. Your prices should reflect the value of your work, not the going rate for photography services. If you lower your prices, you'll only end up devaluing your work. And if someone's already booked you at your price as it is now, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to give your existing clients a refund? Gamble that they never find out? So I've increased my prices more times than I can count. And I've been nervous probably every single time, but I've never actually lowered my rates. I've always ended up getting booked in the end. And with increasingly higher prices, my profit and my revenue has increased year by year. If you're not getting booked, or if you're worried about not getting booked, it's likely that you should focus on improving your marketing skills and make sure that your brand and your offer is aligned. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about now, do sign up for the waitlist for the Sustainable Photography Program. You need this, and I just know you're going to love it. Okay, so if you're basing your prices on other photographers, you might be getting money in, but as long as you haven't actually made the calculations that you should, and you're not paying attention to everything that's going out, you have no idea what you should charge or how much work you need to do to make the money that you need. Running a business that isn't making enough money to make a living, or even one that's losing money, is easier to do than you might think. Unfortunately, I've definitely been there, and I know I'm not the only one. Finally, if you compare your prices to other photographers, it can lead to a race to the bottom, where everyone's trying to undercut each other on price. And that's a lose-lose situation for everyone. Not only will you end up making less money, but the quality of your work will suffer as well. The whole photography market will suffer, and no one will be able to stay in business in the end. This is something that we definitely want to avoid. Something that I hear a lot is, if I raise my prices, then no one will book me. And let's for a moment pretend that that's true, even though it's not, but let's just pretend. Okay, so I want you to think about, what is the point of getting booked if you can't make a living from those bookings? Or if you're not even making a profit? If it's simply to get to photograph cool things, then you have a hobby. You're not running a business. I know this sounds harsh, but it is true. You have to take yourself and your business seriously. And don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible. It's absolutely possible, and I know you can do it. If you're a new photographer, one of the most challenging things is to set your prices. There are a few things that you need to take into account when you're setting your prices, such as your experience and the quality of your work and the market you're in. But more importantly, you have to factor in your expenses and your time. And no matter your experience level, you do have expenses and you are spending your time. So when you're just starting out and you have the skills you need, you want to make sure that you calculate your rates and you know what you need to charge right from the start. I actually think that working for free is better than starting off with lower rates. But in a transition period, maybe you want to do some kind of promotional rate to really fuel you and your business. So the exact strategy that you need is unique to you. It's definitely something we can talk about. But the fact that you need to and you deserve to get paid for the work you do, that's not unique. That's not something to be negotiated. You deserve to get paid. And as you gain experience and you build a portfolio, you can always raise your prices. But the goal of your business should always be to be profitable. So that means that your prices should never go below the level of profitability. On the other hand, if you're starting out and you don't have the skills yet, you probably want to practice before you charge for your work. Because if you deliver work that's not good enough, it will only discourage potential clients from working with you in the future. So it's better to start off working for free and then launch your business and your brand when you're ready for that. The truth is, if you're not getting booked, it's most likely not your prices. It's that your brand isn't aligned with those prices, or that you're not visible enough. It's not your prices alone. The danger of having to rebuild your brand because you've been targeting the wrong people might be the result or the solution if you've been undercharging. And that is a lot of work. I don't want that for you. So if you're now asking what you should do to be able to make a living from photography, then the first step right now is to calculate your prices, because your prices should be based on your expenses, the hours you put in, the values you give your clients, and how many bookings you get compared to your capacity. And I don't want you to forget to factor in other costs that go into running a photography business, such as equipment, software, props, marketing, whatever you use, because those costs can add up quickly. So factor them into your prices from the start. And if you're basing your prices on other photographers now and you're kind of thinking like, oh, I'm just going to keep basing my prices on others, they've probably got all this stuff figured out. I bet you they don't. I have rarely spoken to photographers who have calculated their prices, but I have so often talked to photographers who are basing it on others. And if we all base our prices on others and no one actually does the work of figuring out what they need to charge, then you never know how you're going to end up when it comes to your finances and making a profit and getting paid. So that's a good reason why you shouldn't base your prices on others. Your brand has to reflect all the things that you're all about, and the marketing you do, that you should draw the right people in. So I want you to focus on what you can control, which is the quality of your work, your marketing skills, and the direction you're taking your brand. The better your work is and the more sought after you are, the more clients are willing to pay. Finally, don't be afraid to charge what your work is worth. You should feel confident in your prices if you're providing a valuable service and delivering high quality work. And if you don't feel confident, which I know can be hard to do at all times, have someone give you a pep talk, get a mentor, get a cheerleader that can help and cheer you on. Because I don't want you to let comparison to other photographers bring you down. Focus on the things that you can control and deliver the best possible photography to your clients. So to sum it up, comparing your prices to other photographers is a dangerous game. It can lead to self-doubt, lower prices, and a race to the bottom. Instead, focus on the things that you can do something about, which is to figure out what you should charge and the quality of your work. If you deliver high quality photography and your brand is reflecting what you're all about, the right clients for you will be willing to pay for it. All this stuff and how you can get things working for you, come on over to Instagram at Ingvild Kolnes and send me a DM and let's talk about how I can help you and how you can get to the next level with your photography business. Thanks for listening to Sustainable Photography. Head over to Instagram at Ingvild Kolnes to tell me what you want future episodes to be all about. Check out the show notes over at ingvildkolnes.com/podcast. You can learn more about the Sustainable Photography Program and sign up for the waitlist there. To get more of this content, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support makes all the difference. Talk soon.